Tamsen Butler. I'm 42 years old. I'm a group fitness instructor and a personal trainer as well.
She is amazing. Even from the first time we met, I could tell that she was full of confidence, just the way that she walked and carried herself.
She's my mom. She's also like my makeup artist and my hairstylist and my chauffeur. She does everything for me. If you're like, hey mom, wouldn't it be cool if you do this? And then she'll like do all this training. And then 2 weeks later, hey Monet, I got this license for this. And I'll be like, I just mentioned that conversationally.
She is that Renaissance woman that can do everything. I am not exaggerating there. She's teaching like 4 classes a day. She is like jogging with me in the morning at like 5:30. I mean, if she wanted to, she could probably like paint this house in like 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, it's just any other day. It was the kids had the day off from school because it was still summertime, and we went to the grocery store and did our grocery shopping, and then we stopped at my husband's office and dropped off some sushi for him to have for lunch, and then we drove home, and then all of a sudden my right eye just stopped working, and I remember distinctly thinking to myself, well, that can't be good. And I can't even describe what it felt like. It wasn't like a pop or a shift or something, but something was happening right around here. And I remember thinking, this is definitely not good. And then I kept trying to put groceries away, because you gotta get the groceries away, I guess.
And so she was putting the dog treats and like the dog bones and stuff away. And then she just kind of like fell. And I was like, Mom, are you okay? And she like tried to say something and I couldn't understand what she was saying.
I heard Monet kind of freaking out, and so I go in, and I thought Mom was just trying to be funny by lying there on the ground.
And then she just kind of laid down. She's like, can you get me a pillow? I'm like, I'm like, Abram, go get a pillow.
I knew something was wrong, and I saw these groceries spilled everywhere. Monet was like grasping for a phone.
And so I'm like, Abram, can you call Dad? I think something's wrong. She's like, don't call Dad, don't call Dad.
And I'm lying there, and I'm trying to tell my kids that it's okay, because even though I knew I was having a stroke, the last thing I wanted, and I know this makes no sense and I still can't explain it to this day, but I didn't want my husband to find me that way. And I remember very specifically Monet, my daughter, standing over me with her hands on her hips. And she's standing over me as I'm lying there looking up at her. And she goes, you're not okay. You're not all right.
And she's like, don't call Dad. Don't call Dad. And I'm like, she's like, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm like, Mom, you are not okay. I'm calling Dad.
When your mom is lying on the floor and drooling everywhere and can't use one part of her body, I'm pretty sure that's kind of scary. It was just complete chaos.
What I didn't realize, and what probably a lot of people don't realize, is a stroke is like an attack on your brain. And so I couldn't really think straight. That's kind of how the first few days of recovery was perpetually stumbling into things that I didn't know how to do anymore. It was really difficult at first, and I remember thinking about how absurd it was that I had to relearn how to walk. I remember when the first time they had me walk, I was pushing my little walker along, and I felt very weak, and I kept kind of walking into the wall because I couldn't see stuff on my left. And this was one moment that helped me a lot, and this goes back to the faith I have, where I started thinking about all the people that were praying for me, because that's all we kept hearing. We're praying for you, Tam. Tam, we're praying for you. And I started visualizing the prayers as things swirling around me and holding me up and keeping me walking.
I feel like it was a challenge because, we all kind of had to like pitch in and help, like with things that she would normally do.
That was one of the worst things, was seeing me through my daughter's eyes. I've always tried to instill in her that you know, women can be strong and able. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't strong or able anymore.
That was really hard. It's not something that she normally is, you know, just sad. You know, she's upbeat, typically. So to see her be down is hard.
And I tell my husband, and I remember this moment really distinctly, I said, nobody would blame me if I just gave up at this point. And he kind of crosses his arms and he goes, I would. And it just like clicked in my head. I said, all right, get up, dust yourself off and keep going. Well, Louis is a personal trainer and a friend of mine, and he has congenital heart failure, and he has all sorts of devices in his heart. And so once my cardiologist told me that I could start exercising again, I reached out to Louis.
My name is Louis King. I've had her in classes before. I knew she was strong. She was motivated, but just physically couldn't connect it. And to me, that was something that would be totally different. How do you motivate someone who's motivated to do what they already want to do, but it's just trying to get that muscle-mind connect back? The most simple exercises turned into something that was challenging.
I've learned that you can't give up. Even if you want to, and it seems impossible to do something, you cannot give up.
Well, I've personally found that the Heart Association has been very helpful as far as giving me a feeling of I'm not alone, and that, you know, there's other people who've gone through this and conquered it.
I would say that your contributions to the American Heart Association are critical, not only in funding for recovery of stroke survivors, but also into research and development of new medicines that can, and in the case of my wife, did save her life.